What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new album from IDK called Is He Real? Now, IDK is a rapper who's coming out of Maryland. He made a lot of noise when he dropped that project called I Was Very Bad. I actually reviewed that in a rundown episode, and I thought it was dope too. So needless to say, I was curious to see which direction he'd be going in with this project and what the hell it was going to sound like. Right away, from looking at the cover, you can tell there's a bit of a concept here. It's called Is He Real? Then he's got a black goat and a white sheep beside him, so right away I figured there'd be some themes that dealt with religion, duality, and contrast. And by the way, looking at that black goat reminds me of the movie The Witch. If you haven't seen that, check it out, because that shit was crazy, and that motherfucker, he might not want to be too close to that goat, man. That might be Lucifer or something like that, but that's a whole other story. And yeah, even after listening to the first couple of tracks here, it's very clear that these themes are there. Like on the intro, Cloud Blue, it starts off with this child speaking on religion before saying in the end that it's all bullshit. You even get a religious interlude called The E in Blue, where someone is getting baptized. And on the song I Do Me, You Do You, this is just an interlude, not really a song. There's a bit of music on here, just some singing that kind of blooms the song together before Tyler and IDK speak on their idea of religion and spirituality. Just do you believe in a higher power and those sorts of things. So that is the content that goes on throughout much of this project, although it does get pretty uneven, and I will talk about that later. But to get back to these themes of duality and contrast that I'm speaking on, you'll hear this a little bit on the song Alone. This is a song where he's trying to dodge the gossip and stay on the right path, despite maybe some choices that he's made in the past, because he's kind of changed over the years. Like if you listen to I Was Very Bad, you obviously know what was going on that album. And this track kind of gave me some light NERD vibes. Just the way that beat sounded, it was very breezy and kind of atmospheric, and his singing style as well. Not saying he sounds like Pharrell or anything like that, just saying that's what it made me think of. You know, sometimes you hear a song and it kind of reminds you of something. That's what I'm saying, so don't get what I'm saying twisted. Then with European Skies, this is another atmospheric track, very light, where he's exploring religion with a kind of spoken word flow, man. He's just questioning everything. And, you know, some of these ideas aren't overly new. At times, it almost seems like discussions that I might have had with people back when I was a teenager, like sitting on a couch smoking weed, talking about some ideas that I just read in a philosophy book or something like that. So I didn't feel like there were any ideas here that were overly new or that they blew my mind. But I think for some people, they might get that effect. It just depends on the stage of your life and where you're at. So I can understand people thinking some of the stuff they're talking about is kind of cringy on here. And I could also understand people thinking that, you know, it's really deep, man. This is mind-blowing shit. So, you know, it all just depends on where you're at and how you relate to what IDK and the guests are speaking on. But, you know, there are some other topics on here as well. No Cable deals with the ills of the world, and it also gets into racial stereotypes, how sometimes he feels like he has to code switch when he's around white people. Then in the end, he realizes he didn't really have to. So, you know, sometimes you look at people a certain way. Sometimes other people are looking at you a certain way, and you got it completely fucked up. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. And then on the songs Michael What the Fuck, or Michael What TF, and Julia, he has given us a bit more of that personal content, man. He speaks on how his mother actually died from AIDS that his stepfather gave to her, and then when she died, the stepfather basically took everything, so he's just an all-out scumbag altogether. He took the house, the insurance, and all that. I just really appreciate the honesty on here, and I'm sure it was hard for him to speak on this and put this on a track for everyone to hear, man, because that is some very heavy content. I always like when artists do that, because that's how you tell your story and kind of set yourself apart. But Michael What the Fuck, that one just wasn't for me, man. I thought the production was kind of grating. It sounded like the worst of Kanye when he was doing My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, an album I love, but like the shit that I didn't love on that, I'm getting those type of vibes on here with the grating production, the overproduced vocals, just all kinds of experimental shit going on. So I didn't really like the sound of that track. But really where this album gets shaky, excuse me as I clear my throat, is the overall God damn, I got a fucking some sort of bug crawling down my throat. I'm like dying here. We're just gonna take a drink of water, man. We're getting extra casual in this one. Sometimes that's how it is when you're just hanging out talking shit, you know what I mean? That's what we're doing. I'm just talking shit with you, then you're going to talk shit with me in the comments section. But getting back to the execution here, I did mention earlier how it does get a bit uneven, and that is the case with this album, man. Some of these songs just don't really fit and the shit gets off track, including Lilly. This is just a simple banger about scandalous hoes, and it has these pretty flavorless vocals on it as well. 24 does have some pretty heavy piano production that I liked, but ultimately, the hook is annoying, and it sounds like you've heard this song 1,000 times before. And the same thing can be said about the flavorless auto-croon-laced banger Digital. So right from jump, like these are a couple of songs that really don't tie into the overarching story here. They really are just kind of, kind of mainstream aimed or just simple bangers. I understand why artists put those onto their project, but it would have been nice if they still tied in tighter to what he was doing on this project. I mean, you might find some loose strands that tie this shit together, but I thought it was kind of glaring how much they didn't match up, but maybe that's just my opinion. Even the song December, this one has that standard island vibe to it. It's just kind of light and groovy. But I can't lie, man, I actually kind of like this one. This one grew on me. I'm not big into this type of music when it's like a full album of this shit, but once in a while I am a sucker for this type of song because it's just very light and fun, man. Like I'll put it on while I'm doing some housework, maybe hanging out with my kids and chilling. I just want some light vibes. You're also getting a Summer Madness sample flip on there, a Burna Boy feature that fits perfectly. Really just a fun track, so maybe I'm being hypocritical here. I'm complaining about songs not matching up, and yet I still like the song. But fuck it, man, sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes you just like a song for whatever reason, and I thought this one was kind of fun. Now, I also thought 4200 Choices was decent. This is just very short, so it doesn't really expand or go anywhere, but the bass on it is just thicker than Nina Stack's, and that is some pretty damn thickness if you know who she is. But it's not an overly memorable song, and I wouldn't revisit it either. Like, I don't hate it, but it ain't great. Another track, of course, that doesn't fit in too well is Porno, but this shit is hard as hell, man. This shit just slaps harder than Tyrion did Joffrey, and I think Pusha sounds right at home on this production style. Again, I'm getting some sort of Neptunes vibes here. This sounds like it could have been a Clips track back in the day when they were making songs like Grindin', just gave me that sort of feel. And you do get a jazzy beat flip for the outro where Jid comes in, which was pretty cool. Of course, we also got to mention that Capri Styles is on here, the GOAT, one of the legends. I don't think she's still at it, man. I don't know where she's at, but she has been putting in work for years, man. I was probably watching her when I was like a damn teenager. Maybe not that far back, but I know she's been at it for a while. I always recognize that little booty with those Japanese symbols on the butt cheeks. Maybe I'm giving too much information here, but if you know, you know, as Pusha T would say. Pretty dope song all in all, but I will say that there are some kind of cringy lines on here, which is usually the case when you get these sex-based tracks, like rapping about dicks, referring to them as bananas. There's a line on here about getting head from a girl that's yellow, like Bart Simpson, or I don't know. I didn't write all the lines down. I just remember listening through. There were some pretty odd bars. Putting his Johnny Cochran on a girl's lips, stuff like that. You know how it goes. But still, this shit is just hard, heavy banger. I do like it for what it is. But all in all, man, this album to me is more uneven than my hairline, which is fucked up. I gotta get a haircut again soon. Just go bald. It's been a couple of days now. So I'm going to go with a 3 out of 5, man. I was kind of disappointed because on the first listen, I was like, I kind of like this, maybe a 3.5. But as I kept listening to it and breaking down the lyrics and the themes and the concept, I feel like it just got off track way too many times, man. Like a drunk man on a four-wheeler just all over the place. He crashes into a tree, then he backs up slowly, and then he's hitting a couple jumps, doing good, then he fucking crashes into a trailer or some shit. I don't know, man. I just wish this concept was more tightly wound. And I know that I am being the self-admitted nitpicking critic here, just ripping apart these little tiny things, but it did make a difference for me. And in the end, there were a handful of tracks that I really didn't like, a handful of tracks that just didn't fit in, but I did get a couple of tracks I did enjoy. So, hey, it is what it is, man. I can only give my opinion when I give reviews. But I'm sure a lot of you like this more than me. I've seen a lot of rave reviews for this one, and it's been highly requested. So hit me up in the comments section with your thoughts, because we're just here to talk shit. I ain't trying to make you believe what I say and just take my opinions. I'm just giving them to you. So it is what it is, man. Here, fucking have a couple of these opinions from Luke James if you want. Hit me up in the comments section. Let me know what you think. And of course, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.